Captain, there be whales here! Star Trek The Voyage Home it's the best. Not just as a Trek movie, just as a movie. It's fantastic. This is by far my favorite original series movie in this line of films that we're going to be reviewing. So, heads up, it's downhill from here. This movie is fantastic, and it's weird because The Voyage Home breaks all the conventions and the things that we've come to expect from a Star Trek movie. For example, the Enterprise isn't in this movie at all. They have the Bird of Prey from The Search for Spock, so that's the ship in this movie. So no Enterprise. There's like no uniforms in this movie, really. I mean, the only person really wearing anything is kind of like Uhura. Everybody else, like Spock's wearing a goddamn bathrobe. Kirk's wearing some thing with a weird pattern on it. Chekhov's wearing some sick, like, leather outfit. He's got, like, leather pants on. Weird, but whatever. But it's great. But that's what makes this movie great. It breaks all the conventions. There's not really, like, a villain in this movie. There's no big space combat. It's just got a really fun story to it, and that's what makes this movie fantastic and the best in the series, in my opinion, at least. Now, the premise with The Voyage Home is really silly. Like, this is a perfect example of a funny and weird, silly script, but directed masterfully. And everybody that gives a performance in this movie, you can tell they're just having a really good time. Like, this is just a bunch of friends doing a silly movie now. Now, the main premise in this movie is... sounds really weird. There's a whale probe... There's a whale probe that has come to Earth looking for whales because whales were like the first species on this planet. They were sent to like colonize the planet or something like that, along those lines. And this whale probe is looking for them, but whales have been extinct for hundreds of years. So this whale probe is basically evaporating Earth's oceans, putting Earth in this big fog, and it's shut off all their technology, and Earth is going to ultimately perish if they can't find some whales. But the crew of the Enterprise, or I guess the Bounty, in this movie are on Vulcan, and they're on their way back to Earth to kind of accept the consequences of what they did in The Search for Spock, where they get the transmission from Earth saying, like, don't come near Earth, the shit's going crazy, like, this big probe in the sky. And they figure out that they have to go back to the mid-80s to get themselves some whales. And that's the story. It sounds so silly and stupid, but it is so much fun because this movie is poking fun at itself. When they go back to the 80s, they're making fun of the lifestyle, the way that people look, the music, all that sort of stuff. And that's what makes this movie great. It's so charming. You forgive all the things that aren't in it, like space combat and a villain. Although I guess man is the villain. Stop hunting whales! Now, with any great Star Trek movie, there has to be great moments, and this movie is chock full of great moments. From that line of, Captain, there be whales here, which Mr. Scott delivers and is so iconic. It's such a perfect line in this movie. And of course, there's the scene where Spock's swimming with the two whales, George and Gracie. There's the great dinner scene between Kirk and the new character, who we'll get to in just a moment as well. There's so many great moments, like when they have to bust Chekhov out of a hospital and Bones is like, it's the Dark Ages. There's so many great moments in this movie that it just makes it fun, and it's so well paced. It just gets from start to finish, and it doesn't feel like there's any parts of this that are dragging on. It's just fun throughout the entire movie, which is what a Star Trek movie should be. Now, in terms of characters in this movie, again, we get the same old crew back. Although Spock is a little bit different in this movie because he's still not fully himself. He's still trying to figure stuff out. You know, he's calling Kirk, Admiral instead of Jim and things like that. But there's a lot of great play between Kirk and Spock and McCoy and Spock and McCoy and Scotty. Just everybody is used really well in this film. That's what I really like about it. This is like the first Trek movie that really utilizes everybody. It shows them all working as a team and not just keeping like the ship from falling apart. Everybody's off doing their own thing. You know, Uhura and Chekhov are going to get the nuclear vessels, and Scotty and McCoy are trying to get like materials to build the tank that they need on board the ship. So everybody's used really well in this movie, and everybody gets, I would say, a pretty equal amount of screen time, which is fantastic. And of course, the new character, who is played by Catherine Hicks, the mom from Seventh Heaven. So we have the dad, and now we have the mom. So this, man, Star Trek just makes careers. I'm hoping that the kids from Seventh Heaven make an appearance at some point. I don't think it's gonna happen, but here's hoping. Now, Catherine Hicks plays Dr. Gillian Taylor, who is the marine biologist in this movie, who knows everything there is to know about whales, and she's a very strong character in this movie. You know, she doesn't take any guff from Kirk and Spock. You know, she's very empathetic towards the whales. You know, that's kind of her life. And she has this really great scene with Kirk where he's kind of breaking the Prime Directive and telling her everything about their mission, and it's fantastic because she's sitting there and she doesn't believe it. You know, she's just not kind of taking the guff from him, and then all of a sudden it's all true, and she just accepts it, and she focuses on, we need to save these whales from being extinct, and I'm coming back to the future with you guys. I don't give a shit what you say. You don't know how to take care of whales. I do. You need me. You're taking me with you. She's a very strong character, and she gives a great performance. She's funny. She's strong. She's a perfect character for The Voyage Home. In terms of music, again, this movie has a very good theme. It's almost like Christmassy. It's got a lot of like dun 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 bum bum bum. It's very energetic and it's very uplifting and happy because this movie ultimately is very uplifting and happy. I mean, there's not like a big crisis. There's not like war that's going to happen. I know Earth's going to get destroyed by the big whale probe in the sky. But the story itself is so fun and cheery, and it's very different from, say, The Wrath of Khan in the motion picture. And that's what makes this movie great, is it totally, like, gives you a clean slate. It's its own thing, and it really ties together The Wrath of Khan, The Search for Spock, and The Voyage Home. Kind of, if you look at that as a trilogy, it's actually a really strong three-set movie, because they all do kind of, like, play into one another. But this movie is so vastly different from the other two. It's so fresh and fun, and again, you can just tell that everybody's having a great time. Like, William Shatner's having fun, yucking it up. Spock's having a great time, swimming with the whales, and Scotty and McCoy, and like everybody's just having fun in this movie, and it really shows in their performances because, again, just everybody's having a good time. Now, there's not much that I would change with The Voyage Home. I mean, it really is a great Star Trek movie. I don't think if you had them in like a big space battle with the probe, it would have fit for the theme of the movie. So I'm kind of glad that they left that out. And having them not in uniforms makes sense because when they went to go save Spock, they didn't have the uniforms. So it all kind of makes sense why this movie is the way it is. And it's totally worth your time. It's not a long movie. So if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend seeing this movie. If you're going to see one Star Trek movie out of all the movies that I'm going to be reviewing, The Voyage Home is totally the movie to do. That's why I'm giving Star Trek The Voyage Home a 9.5 out of Transwarp. Out of that. Yeah, I gotta throw the Transwarp line in there. But whatever. It's a 9.5. It is fun. It is fast. It is everything that a Star Trek movie shouldn't be, but it all works. And that's the crazy thing, because it's a silly, simple story, but it's done really well. And there's not all the things that we've come to expect from a Star Trek movie, but it gives us new things. And that's what a Star Trek movie should do. It should give us something new. And that's what The Voyage Home does. It's fun, it's exciting, it's funny, everybody's having a good time, and you're going to have a good time too. So if you have seen Star Trek The Voyage Home, please let me know what you thought of it in the comments below, if it's your favorite, and if not, which Star Trek movie is your favorite, kind of in the original series films that I'm going to be doing, and then I'm going to be getting into the Next Generation movies as well. And if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. Please like this video for all the latest and greatest videos that we are doing here on Tender Gaming. And as always, I will see you on the very next episode when we start reviewing The Final Frontier. I'm so sorry. I have to. It's just... damn it. So thank you so much for watching, and as always, I will see you all on the very next episode of Tender Gaming. Until then, make it so, number one. I just really don't want to review The Final Frontier. I fucking hate it. I hate it so much. I just hate it.